YouTube! So today we're going to do a posing video for the DX23 Luke Skywalker from Hot Toys. These poses will be set in two different scenes. The first part will be Luke in the Book of Boba Fett, training Grogu, and the second one in The Mandalorian. Starting out with Luke training Grogu. We have Grogu standing on a custom base made by RobGem wood on Facebook or Steel Shields 80 on Instagram. And we have Luke holding his clenched fist, overseeing Grogu on the bamboo base that came with the regular Kenshin figure. Now, the ungloved hand that came with the Luke figure can also be used to kind of grab his lightsaber if you want to do a two-handed lightsaber pose. As you can see, this is a pretty simple pose, but still it can look pretty good. Next up, we have Luke overseeing Grogu doing some force training, and he's standing on top of that tree right there. And this is the Ahsoka base that came with the deluxe version of Ahsoka. You see Ahsoka in the background over here. Because of course we had Ahsoka coming to meet up with Luke and Grogu in the Book of Boba Fett. Now instead of Luke having his hands in front of himself, now he has them on his back. Just looking at Grogu go. And as you can see, the Ahsoka pose isn't all that, but I didn't focus on Ahsoka. Now, these are the poses of the Grogu training that I really liked, because this harkened back to Luke getting trained by Yoda, and now he's training Grogu in the same way. I used the backpack that came with the CC Toys Alley, I believe, of The Last of Us 2, and it fits perfectly, because the gripping hands actually seem like Luke is holding the bag. After the running, Luke did a bit of force jumping, just to teach Grogu how it's done, and I think it looks pretty cool. I think it actually looks like Luke is force jumping from all angles, and Grogu is just watching, trying to learn, which of course he will use in the series. Again, I've used the Ahsoka Deluxe base, which is a really cool figure, so get it if you can. This next pose is Luke showing the Jedi Force training drone to Grogu. So obviously the drone didn't come with this set, it actually came with the Rey set, the Hot Toys Rise of Skywalker one. To show it from all angles, I put them on the rotating base, and as you can see, Luke can pull off this pose from any angle. And the drone, of course, doesn't just sit there by itself, it's just blue tacked onto Luke's hand. In this next pose, I created a bit of an illusion with Luke showing the ball, actually using his force powers, and I just did that by using a little metal wire. I propped it on his sleeve, and then I stuck it to the training drone, and it kind of has the illusion that it's floating, if you take it at the right angle. Unfortunately, I forgot to position Luke's eyes correctly, so it looks a bit weird. Now, as you may know, in the Book of Boba Fett, after the training drone, Luke shows a bit of his lightsaber skills to Grogu. So I'm actually using the lightsaber that came with the figure. Later on, I'll also show you a CCFL USB lightsaber. But for now, I just used the regular one. So Luke is still showing off, and this pose, Luke is showing his 360 no scope, no look blaster rifle laser deflection. As you may remember from the Book of Boba Fett, Luke actually does a couple of signature moves and a couple of other ones in the sequence, and yeah, I could have done any number of poses over here, but I tried to top it off with this one. It's a bit similar to the first one where he's showing off his lightsaber poses, but this is a bit more active than the first one, and it kind of looks like a fencing stance in my opinion, but if it works for fencing, it'll probably work for lightsaber combat, right? Now here I want to see if I could get Luke into a bit more extreme poses, because of course the body isn't really inhibited by the fabric at all because it's so loose. And even the ankles are pretty poseable. So Luke is sitting cross-legged and he shows Yoda's lightsaber to Grogu. This is actually Yoda's lightsaber from the Hot Toys one. And Grogu thinks, that's looking pretty good. Yes, 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 yes. And again, using the bamboo base that came with the Kenshin figure. And the other base was the one that came with the Boba 2 pack. Now, this is actually the scene that came before Luke showing the lightsaber, I guess. It's Luke showing how to meditate. I think in the series Luke had his eyes closed, but of course we can't get that. So this was the closest I could do, and I think it looks pretty natural. So now we get into the Mandalorian scenes with Luke going to rescue Grogu. Now let me break down what you're seeing right here. So in the back you just see the diorama from DX23. You see 4 of the Hottoys Darktroopers. Of course you see the DX23 Luke. And there are 2 Jazzinc diorama Deathstar pieces. One is the version 2, one is the version 3. Pose we had Luke appearing, showing himself to the Darktroopers. In this pose I'm using the wire trick again, this time to create the illusion of his lightsaber flowing to his hand. As you can see, I just twisted a wire and tucked it behind his belt. I have his left hand just uncovering the cape, and his right hand, the gloved one, is pulling the lightsaber towards him. Depending on the angle, especially for photography, it works really well, I think. Now, for the next couple of poses, I'm using the CCFL lightsaber. You've probably seen them by now in the groups or on YouTube, but it stands for Cold Cathode Fluorescent LED. And I bought this one from Ronan Customs in France, so that's handy to know if you live in Europe. And I also buy CCFLs from Guzman, who lives in the Philippines, our saber dog. Obviously shipping is a bit higher from the Philippines if you don't live near there. But if you do, it's also good to know that there's a supplier over there as well. Now the flickering you see isn't the camera acting up, it's actually one of the 9 light modes you can choose if you opt to have different modes on your CCFL. This mode just reminds me the most of how a lightsaber flickers. I did not, however, take into account though how bright these would be on film. So as you can see, Luke's face is all green, the wall is all green, just because it's so strong. And I don't know that much about lighting yet to diminish that. But I'm guessing with the proper lighting, you'll be able to make it look a lot better than I can. So in this next pose, we have Luke deflecting the blasters from the Darktroopers. You may have noticed that this time I forgot to put on the flickering mode of the lightsaber. So now it looks very constant and stable. So you might prefer this look. It's a bit less restless. If you have it on all the time on your shelf. So after Luke is deflecting the blaster fire, he got one of the Darktroopers down, he's taken off his hood, and he's ready for more action. Okay, that part didn't actually happen in The Mandalorian, but I think the face sculpt looks that good and the poseable eyes are that cool that it would have been a shame not to use that. So I had Luke pull off his hoodie. For one, because I wanted to do the next poses without the hoodie on, so you could see the eyes and the head sculpt, but also I think it's kind of a cool pose to have. He's looking really cool and collective, and he's like, okay, that's one down. I'm ready to take the rest of you on. And so he does. So he chops off the hand of this Darktrooper over here. I don't know if it comes across well or not. I could have chosen to have the back shown, but I've chosen to fold it on the inside, so it kind of looks cleaner. Let me know down below if you think it's clear, or that I actually needed to tell you before you could see that happening. But after this pose, I thought, let's have Luke step over a Darktrooper and slash the other one. So that's what he's doing. And I did this kind of trick with the cape I didn't do it very neatly because I see the wire now. It's like a harness that I folded over the shoulders, just a wire that I bent it a bit. And after I folded it over his shoulders, I tucked it under his tunic. And the parts that stuck out, I just draped the cape over it. This really took like 5 minutes, so if you're more patient than I am, you can make it look a lot cleaner. I would suggest just having a bit of a longer wire. Now, after this, Luke is really wreaking havoc. Up until now, he has only been using his lightsaber skills, but of course, it's also time to be using his force powers. And Hot Toys did a great job with this hand. It sounds pretty silly, but Hot Toys had some really bad hands also, but this one is awesome. I think having Luke on your shelf in this pose, yeah, it seems so iconic. Now, in this scene he uses the force to stop a Dark Trooper dead in his tracks, and the CCFL is back to its flickering mode, and to be honest, I think that's a better look for it. It really reminds me of how a lightsaber is flickering. But for pictures you obviously just take the mode without the flickering. More poses, more dead Dark Troopers. So when the Dark Troopers first came out, you knew that you could detach the upper body from the lower body, and they told you that it was for use with future accessories. So it's this accessory that you can use it with. So I used the battle damaged Dark Trooper part with the regular legs and feet, and then I just put him on a tippy-toed stance, so it actually looks like Luke is force lifting and force crushing the Dark Trooper at the same time. Ever since we knew that we could split the Dark Trooper in half, I had this pose in mind, and it works even better that you can use the lower part of the battle damaged droid with the regular upper part. And this is a pose where it kind of seems like Luke is slashing the droid in half. You can even have Luke slash off more parts than this, but I'll show you that in another pose. For this pose, the feet are just standing on their own, and upper body part is, as you can see, just stuck on a dynamic pole. Usually you can just put it on the acrylic rod, but if you really want to, you can just stick it on a dynamic pole and have it fly off. Speaking of having things fly off, next we have Luke force pushing another Dark Trooper. All the while he's deflecting other incoming blaster fire with his lightsaber. Now this pose is kind of combining three poses we've already seen. It's the crouching pose, where I did that with the training drone. It's the force push that I did before, and it is the lightsaber blaster fire deflect that I also did before, all cropped into one. What you can actually see in this pose is how companion pieces can really sell the pose the figure is doing, or the story the figure is telling. So the more forceful it looks that the Dark Trooper is being pushed backwards, stronger Luke looks. And I think the stronger a figure looks, the more impact it has when you see it on yourself, right? So don't be afraid to use other figures to sell the story. Now, as you can see, I've put Luke and the Dark Trooper on a dynamic base, just so you can see the pose better from all angles. So from this point on, I'll be doing a bit more of the rotating base poses, just so you can see them from all angles. Now, here, one of the Dark Troopers is just being stubborn, and he's still resisting being destroyed. And Luke is like, nah, that's not going to happen. So he stabs the Dark Trooper in the neck, because that seems like an efficient way to take care of Dark Troopers, right? This pose is also on the rotating base, because from the other angle you couldn't see the way the legs were positioned, and I think in this angle you can see it a lot better. So with one foot he's just standing on the droid, and then he just melts the Dark Trooper from his neck down to his torso. Once again, the posing eyes work very well to make this a very intimidating pose. Now with this pose I wanted to catch two birds with one stone. I wanted to do a jumping pose in this scene, and I also wanted another crack at the cape. And this time I took a different approach to the cape. I just used another poseable cape underneath the Luke cape. I don't know if you actually can see it, but this is a custom Black Panther cape. I think it's by Jackson Shoe. And I just put Luke's hood on top of that, just to make it poseable. And I kind of think it works. Okay, so I told you that you could get different body parts off of this Dark Trooper, right? So to show that, Luke first has to elevate the Dark Trooper in the air. And then he has to take out his lightsaber. He doesn't have it currently in his hand, but he will. And then he'll just chop off a leg. To be honest, I didn't know this before. I was just manipulating the legs, and all of a sudden it kind of seemed like they could pop off, so I did. And they could. So I don't know how many of you will be using this, but you can get some funny poses by doing that, right? With Luke dismantling all the Dark Troopers. I kind of think that the other slice I did worked better, just because you could use the upper torso with the little dysfunction piece of the belt damaged accessory to make it look even better. And I just noticed that the swoosh effect has actually two sides, and I put it on the wrong way. So the transparent side is the side the blade is coming from, not the side the blade is going to. So now we've reached our final pose. So I was going for a bit of drama, showing all the dead Dark Troopers and the belt damaged piece. And I was setting this up so I could do this one and then showing the same one on the turntable so you can see it from different angles. But this is basically the end of the video. In this pose you kind of see the different variations that you can do with your Dark Troopers. You can have the original Dark Trooper, you can split the upper torso from the legs and feet, as you can see in the background over there, just feet standing there. You can take the original torso and put it on the acrylic rod with the bit of electronics showing there, and you can also use the accessory, the battle damaged accessory, on the original legs. And I think that makes for quite a bit of variation you could give in your display. So if you've come this far, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think. I think after this one I've had a question to do more post tutorials, so I think I will be doing a couple of those. I will also be doing a giveaway on this channel, but also in the Facebook group 6 Scale Posers, so check that out. We'll be doing a 3K giveaway over there and an almost 1K giveaway on the YouTube channel. But hit like and subscribe and a notification bell. Thanks again for watching, and as always, keep posing.